want to make good use of everybody's time where you feel like it was valuable to everybody. So we want to share information that's going to help you. But also, I do believe there's a lot of opportunity here that can create some excitement. Just a quick story, and then I'll move on. In 2014, I mentioned I received a call from who at that time was my divisional manager, and he had called me about an opportunity. And sometimes when there's an opportunity, it doesn't even, it may not even appear that way. But he called me about an opportunity, and at that time he says, here's a place where you can compete for some business. And I was competing against somebody else, and they actually had a market sales agreement where they would pay to have first dibs on that. And for me, it was a 2-hour drive. So I was trying to consider, okay, is that a good opportunity or not? Because 2-hour drive, I'm back up to somebody else. But fast forward to 2017, that was 2014. Fast forward to 2017, and I was no longer competing. At that point, we had become the primary sales team, and we were no longer in just some far 2 hours away, but now we were all over the Central Valley, Monterey Peninsula, Northern California, and we had built something where it was creating business anywhere from 5 to 25 million per month in brand new business. And the reason I say that is because sometimes there's opportunity that's available, and the solar industry is not going away. In fact, I mentioned it already how it's a fastest growing industry, and when you're talking to somebody, when you're sharing with somebody, it truly is something that's adding value to their life. You know, there's some things that you can sell, and they might be a luxury. For example, a timeshare. That's a luxury, right? That's something that, but to help people save and is something that we're able to add value to people's people's lives. So the one thing that I've learned, and I think that's what we're building here, is when you're in sales, and I think those here and present, you've been in sales for a while. I've been in sales for 22 plus years. There's got to be some distinctions. There's got to be something that sets you apart from the competitor, and I do believe that is something that we have, that we're building, and you're going to be hearing some stuff that will help you determine, okay, why is it that a client can choose Solar Energy Plus, or they can choose team ABC, and I think some of those distinctions, which you'll hear about, will make a difference. And there's some value in being able to differentiate yourselves. And now, one thing, and when you all have any questions, you're able to ask. But how many have solar? Is anybody online who they've seen for themselves the benefit of solar? Anybody? Okay, so I know I've been able to see for myself the benefit, the savings of solar, and how many are convinced that there's benefit in solar? Yeah. Okay, let me show you something. I'm going to jump ahead because I want to share something. I'm actually going to go backwards on it. And I know Juan already has shown Juan this. Okay, quiz. Quick quiz. Everybody's aware that inflation is happening, right? It's a reality. Do you know what the average cost of 1 gallon of gas was in January of 2020? Anybody have an idea? $1.32 was the average cost of a gallon of gasoline in January of 2020. That's 23 years ago. Okay. Do you know what the average mortgage payment was in California in 2020? Nope, $1,369. The average mortgage payment in California in 2020, in the year 2000, I'm sorry, in the year 2000, 23 years ago, was $1,369. The average in the state of California. Now the average mortgage payment here in California is $3,605. Okay, that's 23 years. Oh, oops, there's somebody that wants to join. 1 minute, okay? Okay, so that was the average. So from 1369 to $3,605 in mortgage. So everything's going up. Now, think about, did you know that between November and March, November of last year, November of 2022 and March of 2023, that the cost of utilities or electric bill went up 30%? Okay, from November to March, 30% increase in the cost of electricity. Okay, they're projecting a 14% increase by next year. 14%. Okay, by the year 2026, it's expected that the electric cost here in California to go up 50% of what it is right now. The year 2026. Okay, so again, when we're talking about offering solar, it's not about a luxury, but in reality, it's value that we're presenting to people. Now, does anybody, by any chance, does anybody know what their electric bill is, either online or in person? The average electric bill.
The average is about 200.
200, okay, which is very conservative. I mean, that's on the low side.
250.
Yeah, it's about 350.
350, okay, let's use that. Let's use that number, okay?
$500, and that's a low bill.
Is it, okay?
I'm going by my last payment. It was 365.
Okay, so let's, you know what, let's just leave it at $310, because it varies for everybody. Okay, $310, that's what it is today. Do you know what your client's gonna be paying in 5 years? Okay, we know what happened between November and March of this year. And based on what already PG&E projects by 2026, a 50% increase. So let's just say, let's be kind. Let's just say PG&E gets a good heart, the electric companies get a good heart and say, you know what? We're no longer gonna increase the cost of utility at the pace that we've been doing in the past. So let's just say we're gonna increase the value of 8% year after year. In 25 years, the average person that's paying $310. In fact, let me do a share screen. That way the people online can see this for themselves. Can you all see that online?
Yes.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
average person, I want you to just think about this, because these numbers are powerful. The average person, if they pay $310 a month, in 25 years, they will have paid $293,000 if it only goes up 8% per year. In year number 5, they will be paying an average in 25 years from now. Their electric bill will be $2,153. Okay, now we saw it already happen on gas, where it's 4 times more, and we saw it already happen on mortgage, 3 times more. So this is pretty powerful right there. Okay, so somebody said they pay $500.
Yes.
Okay, so you pay about 6,000 on average. So you pay an average about $6,000 per year, right? In electric bill. Okay, in 25 years, you will have paid $473,000 to PG&E with an 8% year after year increase. Let's just say, let's not use those 8%, which is very conservative. Let's change it to just 3%, which is wishful thinking. What I'm trying to convey is a lot of people, when they're going solar, their first thought is, how much is it going to cost me? But the true question is, how much is it going to cost me if I do not go solar? You were going to say, Lucy?
Oh, I gave you a low number because we have Lifeline and health care for him. So that's not even it's like 500.
Yeah. So even, let's just say, wishful thinking, that it only goes up 3% year after year. And this is all public information. You're able to look it up yourself. But let's just say the cost of electricity only goes up 3%. So if you're paying $500 in 25 years, again, 3% is unrealistic. It's $225,000 That's at 3%. Let's move it back to what's more realistic, which is still conservative, but let's just say 8%. Okay, 473,000. Okay, those are crazy numbers, right? Okay, if anybody else wants to, wants to plug in their numbers? 180, okay, 180. So somebody doesn't use a lot of electricity?
Yes, I have California Lifeline and Medical Baseline also through HEAPS, which saves me about $200 a month. So
Yeah.
it would be more than 500 without these discount programs.
Yeah. You know, and what I'm trying to convey is, again, what we're offering, what we get to offer our clients, it adds value. It truly adds value. It truly is not a luxury of like a timeshare or anything like that. So at $108, whoever was $180, at 8% increase year after year, you will have paid $170,541 to the electric companies. That's quite a bit of money. Again, so when you look at this stuff, and the client's asking, well, how much is it going to cost me to go solar? And you throw out a number of 40,000, whatever it is, over 25 years, or 50,000, or they have a big unit and they need $80,000, $90,000. And you compare that with how much they would have paid to PG&E. I mean, in reality here's some value, okay? They know what they'll be paying in year number 4, year number 10, year number 15, whereas right now they have no idea. They're up to the mercy of the electric companies, utility companies. So does that make sense? Okay. So again, and all these tools right here, we'll send them to you. I know Juan has his, and it all personalized his own picture and everything, and so all these tools, we'll send them to you so that you can have them. Any questions on that? Okay, anybody see the value of solar just with that? Okay, just with that. So
We have no option anymore.
yeah,
We have no option then. Right, this is the house.
yeah, you got to find a way to do a substantial decrease on
We
the.
can't live with the speed, how did we get?
Yeah. So
It's a no-brainer.
yeah, so and that's definitely that's what we want to share, and that's what Solar Energy Test now. And my wife, you know, I'm just giving like a bird's eye view overview. My wife will get into the more details. Isabel will get into the more details of this, but one of our distinctions, and I don't want to go into it, is giving the tools to the sales team that they need to compete. Okay, I know Juan, Lucia, you've been in sales for many years, and one thing that hurts in sales is having to give up a deal because you can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? And there's some companies that they will only do lease, or they will only do sales, or they only do what's called PPAs, or they will do off grids, or they won't do commercial. You know, so there's like a box of what you can do, and the rest you got to give them away. You know, that hurts when you're in sales. You know, so that's one of our distinctions. We try to create all that because our success, Solar Energy Plus, is by design tied to the success of the sales team. Okay, and it's intentional. It's by design. There's for those who've been in sales, there's two types of companies. There's operation-led sales teams, okay, or operation-led corporations, and there's sales-led corporations. And you know, when you're in sales, when you work for an operation-led sales, where it's like, okay, it's hard. But when you have a company that's led by the sales team, such as what are the tools that you need to succeed, that makes a world of difference. Not excuses, but what is it that you, okay, this is where we're not competing on this product, or this is off-grid, whatever it is, off-grid system. And so that's something that we try to do. Now, I do want to mention something, because this is another thing of value, is every single one of us have a different definition of what success is, right?
Yeah.
There's one person that could say, okay, my goal is to sell 10 systems a month or 15 systems a month, okay? Their goal is I want to make this much money per quarter, okay? And let's just say they want to make 6 figures in a quarter. Okay, and for them, they might consider that success. But somebody else might consider success as, you know what, I don't want to miss out on my kids' school activities, and I don't want to miss out on family vacations. I want to be able to supplement my income so that when we go on vacation, I'm not taking out on credit card, but I'm content closing 1 deal a month or 2 deals a month. So again, whatever the tool is, that's the purpose of Solar Energy Plus, giving you the tools that allow you, if your success is selling 1 deal a month, or selling 2 deals a month, or selling 10 or 15 deals, and there are some people in this industry that are closing 20 deals, 25 deals a month. There are some people in this industry, but again, everybody has, you have to determine for yourself what is success. And
How long has solar energy been around?
about 1.5 years. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, now here's another thing. Now, for some people, this can be overwhelming. It's like, okay, I don't know anything about solar. I mean, yeah, it sounds good, but it's like a whole new industry, right? So let me share something else with you. In fact, it's
I know a lot of it now because we live on our yeah.
oh really?
After a lot of questions, since my brother had a really rough
Yeah,
time getting the right solar amount, you know, the panel, and getting the right equipment.
yeah, yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of the bad experience is and again, there's 2 ways to compete. One is by tearing down the competitor, and another way is by sharing your distinctions. You know, and I think there's some companies that, you know, they just want to tie up a house. They don't care whether it's the right system or not. And we definitely do not want to do that. We want to give the clients the right system. But so for those who are new to the industry, can you see what's on my screen? Everybody online. So
Yes, I see it.
okay, so here's just a general information, because it could be so overwhelming. It's like, okay, what do I need? Yeah, I believe in it, but okay, do I know enough to start sharing or selling solar? So here's 6 points. And if you know this 6 points, okay, this will help you. These are 6 things you need to know. 1, you need to know your client. Okay. So what do I mean by knowing your client? Well, not everybody has the same need. So for example, if somebody has a medical condition and they have some device that they need to know that when the electricity goes off, that they need to be able, they have backup. Okay, you need to take that into consideration. Okay, you have to also know, it's like, okay, do you have plans to build a swimming pool? Do you have plans to add an ADU? Or do you have plans to get an electric car, right? So it's know your customers. Those are easy questions. And the easiest question you ask is, what is your PG&E bill? What are you paying right now? Okay. And the second thing is, most of us, okay, you're driving down the freeway. Okay, you see a classic car, gets your attention. Okay, and then right next to it's a jalopy. Okay, you don't confuse the two. You know what a classic car is, you know what a jalopy is, right? But the thing about it, okay, we see solar panels on roofs. They all look the same, but some people have solar panels that they're not the same. So you need to have a general idea of solar panels. Okay, there's 200 kilowatt panels. In fact, I don't think they sell those anymore, right? I think the smallest is like 300 or 350. And then there's 440 kilowatt systems. But just knowing the difference, okay? Just have a general idea of a solar panels, okay? The other thing is inverters. Okay, what's an inverter? Okay, general idea. An inverter is what converts solar rays into usable energy. We write in here? Yeah, that's your book. Yeah, that's your book. So an inverter, that's all it is. What does it do? An inverter, it what converts solar rays into usable energy. Okay. You know, and in fact, and when you ask the right questions, then that will determine what kind of inverter you need. Because if they plan to get electric car in the future, well, you got to be able to make it where, okay, they could get the plugins and all that stuff, or they plan to get a They might get a swimming pool down the road and they might need more energy. Well, with that, you could have batteries, you could do stuff. So asking the right questions, but I mean, even knowing about inverters, they have what's called micro inverters and string inverters. They have, if a house is in a shady area, well, you don't want to put them on a string inverter. It's just little stuff, okay? And the other thing is you want to know about batteries, okay? Batteries and there's some batteries that are just operational batteries. In other words, when they consume energy at night, but if the electricity were to go out of that neighborhood, the whole system quits functioning, okay? And then there's backup batteries. In other words, if the electricity goes out, doesn't matter, it keeps on the functioning to percentage of the house continues functioning. And most people that have solar, they don't even have batteries. But why is it that now we need batteries? Because of regulation change. So the other thing is the power grid, knowing the power grid, okay? And for example, there's 3 major utility companies. You have PG&E, you have Southern Gas and Electricity. And do you know that they invest millions of dollars into getting favorable regulations? Okay, that's a reality. You see all the rules and laws that are coming up, and it benefits the profit of these large utility companies, not the clients. You would think with all that push of being energy friendly and all that stuff, but that's not what's happening. It's pretty much all the rules that are coming up are for the benefit of the utility companies. So having a general idea of that, financing options. Okay, there's leases. Okay, there's purchasing your own system. There's also what's called PPAs. PPAs where you're pretty much buying electricity back from the system that's on your roof, and
They don't know what to say like that?
nope, they're all different. You can buy your own system, you can lease your system, or you can do what's called PPA, which pretty much if you it almost works like a micro utility company on your roof, where you pay for what you use. It's cheaper than the utility companies, but again, so these are the 6 points that you need to know to share. Guess what? My wife can talk about this. Isabel can talk about this probably with like an hour, 2 hours on each one of this. I shared with you the full extent of my knowledge on these 6 points, and I've been able to make sales. So it's not knowing everything, but knowing enough that matters to the client. Does that make sense to everybody? So those are the 6 things. If you're wondering, okay, how do I venture into this? Well, okay, read up on inverters this week. Read up on what's happening on batteries, what's out there. Okay, what are the financing options? Okay, what credit score do they need? All that stuff. And this is all information that we have available to share with you. Okay. Any questions on what I've shared so far? Anything on that? Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah. Who am I speaking? Who is it?
I'm Deshaun.
Oh, yes, Deshaun. Yeah. How are you doing?
So I'm doing fair. I'm glad I got a signal to hear you, so I'm in a good area to hear you. I'm in a weird spot, but I'm able to hear you. So
Oh, okay. You got a
Yeah.
question?
I do. You're saying the 6 points. I think I put on the typing board that are you on number 3 yet? I wasn't sure. I heard you say number 1, which is know your client, know your customer, but I haven't heard you say number 2 yet, which I think is know your products, if that's right.
Yeah, but I broke down in fact, that would be an easier way of saying it, but I broke down the products into 3 parts: the panels, the inverters, and the batteries. So that
Okay.
would be, yeah, so know your product would be those 3. In fact, batteries, inverters, and solar and panels. Yep, good question. And then no financing options, just have a general idea of financing options. What's a credit score that people need? I think, in fact, there are some programs for people with bad credit where they don't qualify for traditional financing, where they actually, their property taxes gets adjusted to cover the electric bill. So, and that's for people with more challenging credit. Okay, I went through everything rather quick.
I have another question.
Okay,
like I said, my neighbor was getting her solar panels installed. He said that, she got a discount because her husband was military
Mhm.
or a rebate or credit or something. And then she said something that PG&E was involved in getting solar. too.
Oh, so my wife will talk, there's a substantial tax solar credit, a substantial tax, solar credit. And my, Isabel knows the nuts and bolts about that part, but, yeah. So if that's my part and I'll transfer it over, why don't we did you want to take a few minute break? Let's take a 2-minute break